Let me start with something I see again and again in organizations. Most companies actually have a strategy. It's usually well thought out. It's discussed at leadership level. But somehow, when you look at what teams do every day, that strategy disappears. This session is about that gap. I'm not going to present OKRs as a magic framework or a silver bullet. I want to talk about OKRs as a thinking tool, something that helps teams and leaders stay aligned and focused while still working in an agile way. If you've ever felt that agile creates a lot of movement, but not enough progress, this will resonate. Let's first be honest about the core problem. This is where things usually break. Teams are working hard, often with good intentions, but they're moving in different directions. Each team optimizes for its own backlog, its own deadlines, its own success. At the same time, strategy exists somewhere else, often in slides, documents, or leadership meetings, but it doesn't guide daily decisions. Add constantly shifting priorities to the mix, and progress becomes unstable. Teams start something, stop it, start something else. And at the end of the quarter, leadership looks at all the work delivered and still asks, but did we actually move the needle? That's what I mean when I say strategy gets lost in translation. And this disconnect creates very real pain. When strategy and execution are disconnected, people feel it very quickly. Teams feel lost. They're busy, but they don't know what truly matters. Everything feels important, so nothing really is. Leaders struggle too. They see activity everywhere, but they lack real visibility into progress or impact. To compensate, organizations add more meetings, more alignment sessions, more reporting. But outcomes don't improve. Sometimes they even get worse. Backlogs grow longer, focus gets thinner, and frustration increases on all sides. This is usually when people say, Agile is not delivering what it promised, but the root cause isn't Agile. It's how goals are set and used. Traditional goal setting was designed for a different world. Annual objectives are set once per year, based on assumptions that quickly become outdated. Reality changes much faster than planning cycles. KPIs often focus on activity, how much work was done, how many items were delivered, but they don't tell us whether that work actually mattered. Goals are usually set top-down, which means teams don't truly own them. And because each team optimizes locally, the organization as a whole suffers. So we end up with 4 big gaps: slow planning cycles, activity-based metrics, lack of ownership, and local optimization. That's the distance between strategy and execution. This is exactly the space where OKRs can help. OKRs change how organizations think about goals. Objectives describe direction. They answer the question, what meaningful change do we want to see? Key results make that change measurable. They help us understand if we're actually making progress, not just doing work. And most importantly, teams own execution. Leadership sets direction, but teams decide how to move toward it. This creates alignment without micromanagement. Teams gain autonomy, while leaders gain clarity. So what does this look like in everyday work? Before OKRs, backlogs are often overloaded. Priorities are unclear, and everything competes for attention. After OKRs, focus becomes explicit. Teams work on fewer things, but those things matter more. Decisions are no longer driven by the loudest voice or the latest request. They're guided by outcomes. Conversations also change. Instead of asking, did we finish everything? We start asking, did we make progress toward what matters? Now let's connect this with agile ways of working. OKRs and Agile are not competing concepts. OKRs provide direction. Agile provides the execution engine. Sprints become a way to test progress toward key results, not just a way to deliver tasks. Retrospectives also evolve. They're no longer just about improving the process, but about learning whether our work had impact. This combination turns delivery into experimentation and learning. However, This only works if we avoid some common traps. One of the biggest mistakes is turning OKRs into task lists. The moment that happens, their power is lost. Another common issue is having too many objectives. Focus disappears when everything is important. Using OKRs for performance evaluation is also dangerous. People stop learning and start gaming the system. And finally, OKRs should never become reporting theater. Their purpose is alignment and better decisions, not compliance. So what does good actually look like? Good OKRs are simple and outcome-oriented. The objective describes a meaningful direction, something people can rally around. Key results are measurable and concrete. They tell us if we're getting closer or not. And there's a clear distinction between output and outcome. Outputs are things we do. Outcomes are changes we want to see. That distinction alone can completely shift how teams plan and prioritize. Finally, let's talk about how to get started. OKRs are not something you roll out across the whole organization overnight. They're a thinking tool, and like any tool, they work best when introduced gradually. Start with one team or one area. Learn from it. Iterate quarterly. When used well, OKRs don't add more process. They help organizations focus, align, and continuously improve. If you found this useful, I'll continue sharing practical topics like this, focused on real-world application, not theory.